Good morning. So today our mindset training is going to be about two words. Choices and ownership. Yesterday we were doing a podcast and I was getting asked some good questions about, do you think that poverty is a choice? And the answer is absolutely. Everything is a choice. Right? So I don't care where you come from, what your situation is, what your race is, gender is, religion is, what your parents do, where you come from, anything. Anybody can be successful because there's people of all walks of life that have gotten out of where they're at and are successful. And there's people of all walks of life that have been born into a great situation and end up in drug rehab centers. I mean, it just doesn't matter. It really has nothing to do with anything beside your choice of what you want in life, which comes back to beyond positive thinking and being able to make decisions. You guys can close your computers for training time. So a lot of this time, first off, I'm gonna be dedicating this 30 minutes every single week. Monday mindset, and that's what we're gonna be doing. And the real idea is understanding that you have a choice to be able to do whatever you want in life, right? And you have a choice of whether you're going to be poor, and you have a choice of whether you're going to be successful. It comes down to which menu you choose, right? He was asking me yesterday, is it easier to be hard or is it easier to be rich? And I said they're equally as easy in different ways, right? Some people would say that it's easier to not work hard, but I think it's hard to wake up in the morning and look at yourself in the mirror and not be the person that you want to be. But then I also think it's hard to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning every single day and go to the gym and go to work and crush it for 12 to 15 hours every single day. I think that it's all relative. I think that they're both as easy as or hard. It's really just a choice. It's just a choice on what you want to do. Like if you want to do if you want to have this, you got to do these things. And if you don't do those things, you're not going to have this. Whatever that is for you. That's why Euritz is doing the PPF goals, because not everyone's goals and motivations are the same. Not everybody wants the same thing, but whatever it is that you want, you have to be able to understand what it takes to be able to get that. And you can't, as Jim Rohn says, you can't shake your finger at the sky and say to change it. It's not gonna change. If you don't change, it's never gonna change. So it comes down to you being able to change. It comes down to you understanding what's required in order to have what you want. And you already know the formula for how to be successful, because so many people have done it before. It's not magic, it's not a secret, it's not anything, it's really a science. If you just Google or ChatGPT, what are the daily systems of multi-millionaires, you just do it. But it's a choice to just do it. And a lot of people choose to not do it. And they blame other people for their choices or lack thereof choice. Regardless, it's still a choice. Everything that you do is a choice. What time you leave in the morning is a choice. What you wear in the morning is a choice. What you do when you show up is a choice. Everything is a choice. And you can blame anything that you want. It's not accurate. It's blame is in the map of consciousness. Blame is literally the bottom. You blame when you live in shame, because therefore you don't have to take accountability. And then you blame other people. Right? There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. That's just how it works. And so I don't really have that much sympathy for people. I have a lot of empathy for people in their situations. I'm very empathetic. I'm not very sympathetic. Like, I don't care what the heck the situation is. You're here at this time doing this all the time. Everything is a choice, right? What you do is a choice. If you decide to show up to work, that's a choice. If you decide not to show up to work, that's a choice. And it comes down to the ownership mentality. And I've been trying to figure out like how to teach that. It's a challenge. I've never figured out personally how to teach it. And most leaders aren't able to duplicate it. Most leaders aren't able to duplicate this ownership mentality. And so therefore they end up doing everything and they never duplicate. Like Brandon Dawson talks about how 97% of all small businesses do less than $3 million in revenue a year, and their revenue looks like this. For like ever. Like my dad has 2 Philly cheesesteak spots. One does about 2 million in revenue, one does about 1 million in revenue, and it's been like that since 1995. You just can't figure out how to do it. You have the same general managers at both stores, Doug and Eric, both working there since the 90s, can't duplicate, they still show up late, they still don't do what they have to do, but it is what it is. And it's okay because most business owners on a $3 million, on $3 million in sales, if you profit, 5 to 20%, that's 150 to 600K in profit. And most people are okay with that. If you run a trucking or construction business and you do 3 million, you're gonna probably profit around 5%. If you're in a retail or convenience store type of situation, you're probably with physical products, you're probably gonna profit around 10%. If you're in restaurants or medicine, you're usually like, if you have a retail store that's not selling like clothes, you're probably gonna profit around 20%, or you should. Right? So somebody had a call with somebody, and was it you, Casey? It was like they should, was it you? Somebody had a call and said like he should be profiting 18%. Who was that?
Me.
You. Yeah, he said he should be profiting 18%, but he's not. I think it was one of your guys, right?
Yeah.
Right? And so yeah, that's the reality of the situation. And these are numbers that are universal. Like it does not matter what industry you're in. Most businesses profit between 5 and 20% depending on their industry, and they usually are going to do between $1 and $3 million in revenue, and the owners are going to be okay because they're at least living a better life than the other people in their family, and fuck it. Like if you get praised in society if you make like 300 grand a year, even though 300 grand a year today is 100 grand a year from 1980. And it's really not enough. It's really not enough money. Most people that I know that make 300 grand a year are still struggling. In fact, the numbers say that 30% of all Americans that make over 250K live paycheck to paycheck. So you gotta make more money. And it's a very simple situation, right? I've already showed you guys what to do in order to make $655,000 a year. And it really just comes down to this. 9 set a day, 45 set a week. And so it's gonna be really easy for you guys to do your math. If you're setting up 9 a week, that's 1/5 of this, so you'll probably make 130K. 130K. And that's gonna be fine for you. That will make you feel good. If you do 1/5 of this, you'll get 1/5. If you do 1/5 of the action, 1/5 of the action usually equals 1/5 of what? The result. It's just a science. It's just numbers. It just makes sense. Right? This is the key. And I will say that you did 44, I already know everybody's numbers. You did 44 set last week. I would have just picked somebody to get to where? 45. Right? It's like when Deshaun Jackson ran the kick return back and then fumbled it on the 1 yard line. Right? You want to finish strong. I would do 46 every single week, no matter what happens, whatever you have to do.
Sunday number it was going, so I hit 45.
Okay.
But
Cool.
the math is like getting me going.
But the
100%.
point, this is the point, is like you gotta put the action in if you want the result. And it comes down to understanding the belief, right? Coming to what you were saying with like, what's your financial goal? Being a little better, cool. So let's say like, who wants to do a demonstration? Does anyone volunteer? Cool. What kind of money did you make last year? If you don't mind me asking.
Like 90K.
90K. So according to what Tristan said, then $90,001 should be good for you. Is that a little better than you did last year? It is. Technically, literally, whatever. Right? Yeah, there's so many more factors though. Right? So it has to be something greater. It has to be a number that you know you deserve to hit. A number that you have a target. And you have to hit that target. And the cool thing is, the bigger the target, the bigger the what? The result. Like, if your target is to make $1 million a year and you hit it over here, you're probably still gonna make $750K. Right? You've ever heard of, if you shoot for the moon, you land in the stars? Right? If you get into the science of it, it doesn't make any sense because stars are way further away than the moon. So, but maybe whoever said that didn't realize that at the time. Right, stars are way further than the moon. But the point, if you shoot for the stars, you should land on the moon. Is really how it should go. But whatever, without getting into science and quantum physics. But the reality is, this is how you have to have a target that's big enough that drives you. And the way that you figure out that target, I can show you my little money system that I track every single time. But this comes from Tony Robbins. If you read the book Money, not at home. If you read the book Money, then he says that there's the difference between financial security, which is kind of just getting by, financial independence, which is having a little bit more than you need, but you can go to the gym and you can get massages and you can go play golf here and there, you can do those things. And then there's financial freedom, which means you don't think about money and you can get that house that you want and the car you want. And then absolute financial freedom is you can have everything that you want. Those are the different levels to success. Because yesterday we were talking about how do you build wealth, and I asked him what his definition of wealth is, and he said wealth would be, I would feel wealthy if I had enough money where I don't have to worry about money. But that's really cash flow, not wealth. Cash flow is your income minus your expenses, is your discretionary income or your profit or your loss. This is called a P&L statement, profit and loss statement. But wealth is really assets minus
Liabilities.
equals,
Not word, that word.
or in accounting class, owner's equity.
Yeah.
These are two totally separate things. There's a lot of people that have this and not this. And then there's a lot of people that have this but not this. But most of the time, if you have this, you have that. But there's a lot of people that have this and don't have this because they have this, or they have very little of this, because they have a lot of these. So it comes down to figuring out what you want. The first situation is this. Because then you can take this and go invest it in these. And this is literally a drawing straight out of Rich Dad Poor Dad. I don't know if you've ever seen the page that I'm talking about. This is literally straight out of Rich Dad Poor Dad. And if you have low consciousness about money, then it would be in your best interest to go buy every book on money and study it. Right? When you were asked me, is that one of the books that we had to read? No, but you're in the insurance business. If you're in the insurance business, my best suggestion would be to go buy all these books on insurance. Just as if you're in the real estate business, you should probably understand insurance. Real estate. Right? Grant Cardone talks about that your conviction and your dress has to be backed up with what? Knowledge. Alright, so you can look as fly as you want and look cool and sound cool. If you don't have any knowledge, nobody's gonna buy from you. It's important to be able to talk to people about what you do in simple terms. But you're not able to do it in simple terms if you can't understand what you do. You have to understand it. Does that make sense? Some of you guys are trying to be a Spanish teacher without knowing Spanish. Or like you know hola, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna be a Spanish teacher. Some of you guys like know term ROP and perm, and you're like, I'm an insurance professional. That's not reality. Like you can't talk about stuff. If you never read that book, you shouldn't be talking about infinite banking. If you never read the case for IBC and the power of zero and tax-free retirement, like you don't have any right to talk about tax-free retirement if you never read a book called Tax-Free Retirement. You have to be in the game. You have to own it. You have to own it. Like this has to be everything that you do. Like I can still tell you today the price per pound of every single meat and cheese at Lee's Hoagie House. I don't know if it's accurate, it would be as of 2020. But I can tell you every single one. Every single meat is between $2 to $2.50 per pound. Provolone cheese is $2.12. A case of lettuce is $27. A case of chicken fingers is $35. A case of wings is $58. Like every single thing, you gotta know everything about what you do. And so for a couple years, you're probably gonna have to say, no, I can't come to dinner. No, I can't go to the pool. And if you're at the pool, you're reading a book. Like, no, I can't go here. No, I can't go back home. No, I'm not gonna go home for my friend's birthday. No, I'm not gonna go to whatever. You're just not gonna do those things anymore. Like, I used to go every month to Fogo de Chao with a couple of my friends from Capital Infusion, and like, I haven't gone in a year and a half. And then they always give me shit for it. Like, every time, when are you gonna go to dinner? Probably never. I have zero desire to go to dinner because I'm on a path to this. Like it's not conducive to what I want. You just have to figure out, but if you don't know what you want, then this whole thing is, then you're just kind of going in I want to go in a boat. Okay, then what? I just want to go in a boat. You don't know where you're going, and you don't know how to work the boat, and you don't know what to do. And so this choice that you have is to figure out what it is that you want. Because this example that I just drew of the 90,000 and 90,001, Tony Robbins has a good story of, he was like 25 years old, he just had started doing his coaching stuff and his speaking, and he was in Boston, and he left the event walking back to his hotel, and this homeless guy was drunk, stumbling back and forth, and he said, "Hey sir, can I please have a quarter? A quarter will change my life." And he said, "All you need is a quarter." And he said, "Yeah, all I need is a quarter." And so Tony Robbins had some change in the bottom of his pocket, but he had his wallet, he had his money clip, because Jim Rohn teaches you to have a money clip with $300 bills on the outside. I would suggest that everybody does that. I did that for like 8 years. Have a money clip with $300 bills that you never use, ever. I don't care if you walk in a Publix, you forget your credit card, you don't use those $3, $100 bills so that every time you look, you feel wealthy. And so he had his money clip, and he had a lot of money. He had a lot of at that cash. He just sold an event. He just sold a lot of coaching products. It was the 90s. He had a lot of cash, and he took out his wad of cash, and he held his wad of cash, and he held his quarter in his other hand. And he said, "A quarter is all you need." And he said, "Yes, a quarter is all I need." And then he gave him the quarter. And he said to the guy, "Life will pay any price that you ask of it." And it comes back to what Robert Anthony was talking about in the book. Will you choose whether you go to the river of life with a teaspoon, a cup, a bucket, or a barrel? And so you have to start owning things in your life and making choices for what you want, because it's not, you can't just go through life being a victim. You can't go through life blaming other people. You can't go through life being scared. You can't go through life without a destination. Everything you have to do has to have a destination. Otherwise, you're going on a joyride. Right? How many people, I just went for a joyride this weekend, but you had nowhere to go. And you probably ended up nowhere. If you want to end up somewhere, you got to know where you want to go. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. Like, whatever if and buts about it, I always right, wanted to live in Miami after I went to University of Miami. I just always thought about it. I want to be in Miami. It's freaking cold. I'd slip on black ice walking to the gym in Philadelphia in winter time. Like, I want to be back in Miami. And then the universe created the situations for me to end up back here. You have to have a thing that you think about all the frickin' time, all the time, all the time, all the time. Which comes back to ownership. So, it comes down to ownership. Now, all I can do is teach the qualities of ownership. Like, what are some things that I did when I was a kid or my dad had me do as a kid that led to the ownership mentality? Until I partner with a psychologist or a scientist to figure it out. But all I know is that you have to think of it like this is your business. And I don't mean your desk and your clients. I mean this is your business. You have to think about it. I never paid rent at Lee's Hoagie House growing up, but it was my business. I didn't pay the employees, but it was my business. If there was crumbs on the floor over there, which I see right now, I would clean it up. It was my business. My dad taught me to clean up always. If there was a straw wrapper on the floor, I had to clean it up. If there was lettuce on the floor, I swept it up. I owned it. I was always cleaning up. Now, whatever that means for you. Some of you guys that hang out with me at night, you see that I'm banging out the dishes, I'm pushing everybody's chair in, I'm putting all the desks down. This is my business. And it doesn't matter whether I pay the rent or you pay the rent, you own this thing like it's your business. Hey Josh, we need more freaking chairs. I think these are the ones you bought on Amazon. Here they are. Can I have your credit card number? I'm gonna order them. Cool. Hey Josh, I need to get flyers. I know you sent it to me. Here are 3 quotes from 3 different print guys. Which one do you want? I just need your credit card and I'll order them for the office. I'm not saying I expect it at all from you guys, but I'm just saying that's let's call it being proactive on situations in the office. I wipe off the whiteboard every day. It's my whiteboard, I pay for it, but it could be your whiteboard and you just do it. I'm not asking you, I don't know how to say it in a way, I'm not expecting any of this from you at all. I'm not saying that I want you to do it. I'm just telling you what I did when I was a kid, which led to me having an ownership mentality. I've never had anything else but an ownership mentality, so it's kind of hard for me to experience the opposite situation. When I was at Capital Infusion, me and Matt would sit in his office and brainstorm how to market, how to grow. He hired my friend Justin because I was dude, you need to do marketing. And you need social media, and you need emails, and you need this, and you need that. And then we interviewed 3 people, and we did it. Having these conversations. Me and Javi have a lot of really good ownership conversations. And it comes down to because his dad owns a business and my dad owns a business, so we both have an ownership mentality about business. How could we blend this together? How could we do this? How could we grow this? What are the next steps? What do we need? Those kind of conversations, these are, we'll call them idea conversations. Because one of my favorite quotes is Eleanor Roosevelt says that small people talk about people, average people talk about things. How many of your friends talk about people? My boss, my mom, my dad, my sister, Aunt Jojo, there's BS. Then most people talk about things. Did you see the game last night? Did you see what happened on the news? Did you see this? Did you see that? The bridge was up, I walked home today and somebody was towing somebody's car. It's just great people talk about ideas. Great people talk about ideas. So these are idea conversations to have. Hey Josh, I have an idea. What do you think about this? Hey. Right, like, hey, I have an idea. What are your thoughts? These are all, and I'm not gonna say yes to everything. You have to be okay with that. But there were so many times that I'd be like, Dad, these are, yo, Dad, here are some ideas. You can put it down. You can understand. Like, go on Canva and make a flyer. Don't wait for me to do it. These are things that I would do. Like, I made all of the frickin' Super Bowl flyers for like my whole childhood on Microsoft Word. Like, this just marketing, promotional stuff. I'm just thinking people problems, and problems lead to opportunities. Like, these are the things that me and my dad have talked about forever. We talk about money. And when I asked my dad, what did you do with me as a child? He said, I brought you everywhere. I showed you everything. I taught you everything. I watched you do it while I sat there, and then I let you do it. But some people aren't going to take ownership of it. These aren't things that I expect of you at all. I'm going to keep saying that. But these are things that an owner would have. Like, if I went to Fort Lauderdale and I was at the office in Fort Lauderdale, you better know that Dustin's going to have a list of stuff that I would change at the office if I owned it. Like, yo, dude, I know you have those like desks in the corner over there, but they're both facing the wall. What if we turned them inside and they were facing each other? I think that people would be better, more productive if they instead faced the wall. I mean, if they didn't face the wall. Like, hey Josh, we're running out of room here. I think you and Yaritza should actually move your desks to the front, and we should get 3 more desks over here and order more of these chairs so we don't have to steal the ones from the conference room. I think we could fit twice as many people in here if we did that. Again, not anything I expect from anybody, but these are things that an owner thinks about. Taking the trash out, doing the dishes, owning it like this is your place, like this is your home. Which goes back to also, if your home is a shithole, then you won't even think about this stuff. If you have clothes on the floor, if you walk home and you throw your bag on the table, if you have a pile of stuff on your desk, if you have dishes in the sink, like, you guys have been to my house, everything is in its place. Like, there's not one piece of clothes on the floor. There is not one thing anywhere. There's not one dish in the sink ever, unless we're cleaning it like in an hour. Like, this is just how you operate when you're a professional. When you own something, you clean up everything after yourself all the time. You don't leave cups from last week on your desk. You put it in the dishes, and when you go to the dishes, you do the dish and you put it in the thing. Immediately. Like, as soon as you take your clothes off, you either hang it up or you put it in the laundry. Like, immediately. I didn't do this my whole life, but I've done this for the last 10 years since I started coaching with Jeff. Making your bed, no clothes on the floor, nothing under your bed. You don't need a storage area. This chick that runs this office right here, she literally just uses it as a crap storage area because she has so much shit. Like, if you have a storage area, remember with Dennis, I suggested he sell his car, get rid of everything in the storage room, sell his bike that he uses once a year, and he'll have 10 grand like that. People are very overwhelmed and they create chaos and they create situations that cause them to be overwhelmed so they can continue experiencing the payoff of not having to take any ownership and not having to make any choices. Just like Grant, one of the questions was, what? The buyer is most scared of making a decision. Most people don't want to make decisions because a lot of decisions in childhood have gotten them in
Trouble.
And the reality is that when you forgive yourself for being a young, innocent person and your decisions aren't always going to be the right decisions, then you can just be grateful for life and go through getting failed and failing and failing and failing and just keep chugging along. And so, again, I don't expect anything from you guys. I'll close out with this. I don't expect anything different. I'm not asking you to do these things, but I'm just saying that this is what an ownership mentality looks like. This is what an ownership mentality looks like. Like, hey, I think we should do this differently. Hey, I have some ideas. Can we sit down and talk? Hey, Josh, can I take you out to dinner? Hey, Josh, can I get you a cigar? Hey, Josh, can I come over on Saturday and can we talk about some ideas that I have? Hey, I think there's some problems about A, B, and C. Don't tell me about the problems. Come to me with solutions. Hey, we got too many people in the office. I have some ideas. Hey, this is always a problem. Let's make a cleaning chart. I know I'm gonna have to make the cleaning chart. Like, somebody else do the cleaning chart. Right? Like, somebody else do these things to help, but if you own it, then you'll want to do these things. It comes down to just having an ownership mentality so you can make choices, so that you can be accountable. And then when you do things well and you're successful, you know that you did it. Like, there's a sense of fulfillment when you walk into the house every single day. Even before we go to bed every night. Like, when we're laying on the couch or Winston's running all over the place, like the pillows are over here and pillows over there. Every single pillow. This is how my couch looks like every single day. I got the big pillow right there, little pillow, leaning on it exactly like that. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm gonna come home and his toys are gonna be all over the place, his pillows are gonna be all over the floor because he's a dog. But the first thing I'm gonna do is pick all the little toys up and put it on the tray, because that's where I put them. Because everything should be in its place all the time. And that's not called OCD, it's called being organized and systemized. And that leads to a simpler life with easier results so that you can actually be so successful in life.